Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the AdSkills podcast, where we talk to media buyers. We talk about their highs, their lows, their triumphs, their tragedies, the ultimate success, the wallowing failures, and their journeys through time. And media buying stuff as well. And today I'm particularly thrilled to be speaking to Mauricio Brito. And he has a very interesting story to tell in terms of his journey into media buying. And in particular, Mauricio, first of all, welcome and thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here.
Yeah. So let's talk about, because as I often start off with this podcast is, nobody starts out with life dreaming of being a media buyer, because when most of us were in school, media buying didn't actually exist.
That's right.
I'm real. Talk us a bit about your background. What were you doing before media buying?
Sure. Thank you. So, I'm 43 years old now. And when I grew up, there was no internet. So
Yes.
I grew up the old school way, in where I thought that, to succeed in life, you had to get good grades, good education, and then get a good job and, get a good position. And that's how you succeed in life. So I just did that. I got a bachelor's degree. And then I had the opportunity to do an MBA in Australia. Actually, was 2 years in Brisbane. Loved it. Nice for you. I know.
There you go.
One of the best experiences in my life. So anyway, I came back. I'm from Mexico. I came back to Mexico. And after looking for a job, I found a job in a banking, in Citibank. I got in business banking. I was a relationship manager. Mm-hmm. And so finally, I got a good job after a lot of, studying and working on the side. Yeah. And after a while, I realized that I just didn't like it. So it's stressful. It was high pressure. It was a lot of problems. It was long hours. So I started daydreaming of an easier way to start making money. And I was always looking for things to do on the side, but I just couldn't do it because it was long hours and I just didn't have the energy.
So busy, you would be drained at the end of the day.
To start something on the side, I just couldn't do it. But always on my mind, I had the idea of starting an online business. So after a while, I left my banking job and I started my online business, but I just realized I just didn't know anything about online businesses. And I couldn't find any skills that I had that can translate to online. So I knew how to sell cash management products to give credits and banking procedures. Yes. And I just couldn't find anything that I could do. So after a while, I found the easiest way that I could start that was selling books, selling as an indie publisher. So I started my business online of selling ebooks on Amazon as an indie publisher. And after a while, then this is how I discovered that I needed to start doing Facebook ads so that I could promote my books. Yeah. So this is my first, entry to online marketing as an advertiser, as a media buyer. I had to learn how to promote my books. And after a while, I became a little bit competent on that, and I started to enjoy the process. So now I'm fast forwarding to this year, in where I decided to increase my skills as a media buyer, and I joined AdSkills, and that's how my life got transformed completely. And it's one of the best decisions that I've made in my life as a professional.
Wow!
And I'm happy for the road that I've taken and the opportunities ahead, because it's a growing industry with a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, and I can't wait to explore that a little bit. But I want to ask one question, because I always find this really fascinating. Is from all of that background in studying finance, getting your MBA, working at Citibank, what have you found that you've been able to take from that and apply to media buying?
So, I have a little bit more experience as a media buyer, and there are a lot of things that you can, actually do to become a media buyer, or even to start an agency. There's a lot of processes of, the way you structure your goals, the way you measure results, the way that you work in a team. And, I had a scorecard. It's called performance balance scorecard, where you have a goal, you need to measure every goal, how you're doing, every year. So there are systems that you can translate to online that would be very useful, not just as a media buyer, but also as an agency owner. So for sure, there are things that are very, very useful. And also the working ethics that you need to learn on a corporation. You need to do for sure as a media buyer or as a business owner. Otherwise, it's very difficult to succeed outside. It's not the same thing being an employee than on having a business.
100%.
Sure.
100%. Hey, tell us about taking on your first client. How was that? Like, it's one thing to do your own advertising,
Sure,
but then to have the responsibility of talk us through that very first client experience.
So, I was used to managing my own budgets. So that's what I did. Actually, before media buying, I helped, friends of mine that all were also indie publishers manage some of their campaigns. So actually, thinking back, those were my first clients, actually, even though I was just helping them. It was not I was not hired, but I was just helping them and managing their campaigns. But the first job, I was actually quite scared because I was afraid of managing other people's money, even though I had an idea of what should I do and all the processes and systems. The idea of making a mistake or losing money for other people, it was a burden that I had to overcome because I was a little bit afraid at first. But then you start trusting the systems. You start, I applied actually through AdSkills, through the matchmaker.
So as a matchmaker, you got your first client through the matchmaker process?
I did, and also using platforms like Upwork. But I found a position using the matchmaking platform on AdSkills. And it was for sure a learning experience. Just not, I think I have a good background that allows me to, maybe consider myself for positions or working clients. But so that helps. But it's a learning process to sell yourself as a media buyer and also to start managing other people's money. But slowly you start getting experience and becoming okay with that.
Yeah, fantastic. So tell me, what type of client do you like working with now? Maybe you could tell us on what you enjoy doing.
Yes. So I'm used to dealing with e-com products. As I was years as an indie publisher. Also, I really like to study and learn a lot of information products and online marketing. So I'm very familiar, even though I haven't done it, I'm very familiar with a lot of concepts. But I've been working lately with e-com products and also the health niche. I've been managing campaigns on diets and diet products, supplements. And I also manage some campaigns for the funeral home industry, which is quite niche industry. So that was an experience as well. Yeah, I know.
So never a dull moment when it comes to the possibilities of media buying.
Never a dull moment. Obviously, you need to specialize, but there are a lot of opportunities. And even now that, for the situation that there is, a lot of people have been, starting to advertise online. So there's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, well, they need to, right? Advertising books is a really interesting area. And what are some of the mistakes you see people making when they are doing book campaigns, trying to promote and sell books?
So it depends where are they selling their books, because if you try to sell directly to Amazon, for example, you cannot install a pixel there. So that's a challenge. So if you have your own website in where you send traffic to your books, then you can obviously install a pixel and create audiences and track everything. But if not, then it's a little bit more of a challenge. So I would say one mistake is not targeting properly if you're selling to Amazon, because you cannot install a pixel there. So you really need to research your audience depending on the genre that you're selling to and try to target as specific as possible, because you pretty much can only do interest-based targeting. So sometimes just people target too broad and don't actually, I've been learning so many different things lately this year, and they just don't also establish the correct campaign structures. So they just send directly and they just create, I don't know, like 30 different ads and to just keep the ones that working, and it's not the best way to go.
Yep. And do you find that, do you tend to work in one particular ad network or across a couple? Where do you tend to focus for you, particularly for your book advertising? What networks do you find work best?
So for sure, if you're selling books, the biggest market and the most competitive as well is selling books directly to Amazon on Amazon. So you publish your books there and send traffic to your books. But that's not the only way to make money. There's a lot of different other platforms that you can send traffic to. It's less competitive, but there's different opportunities. So it depends on how, the niche or publishing books on, and how your business is structured, because you can also grow a list of fans that buy your book and start investing in your list and start growing your list and just promote mostly to your list. That's another option as well.
Yeah, that's another great option in terms of building that audience, then being able to use that list to find others who are like them. The various ad networks are doing really well. Hey, can you tell us about I'd love to hear from you like a case study or a client story that since you started doing your media buying, that you're proud of, that as a campaign worked, and take us through the steps there.
Sure, thank you. So recently I've been working as a media buyer, and I've been involved in different diet programs. So we have this one client that it's a doctor that sells his diet, and he couldn't just have a campaign that was not banned by Facebook, because his program was very specific. It was with a certain weeks, a certain time, and he tried so many different things, and he always got banned. With his account got shut down.
Yes.
So actually, what we had to do is create a completely different funnel with a completely different account, with a completely different payment. We had to leave everything he'd done and start from scratch, and we have to put everything clean, because sometimes selling advertising in diet products or you cannot make a lot of claims or promises, so you have to be very clean. And
if they've done it in the past, of course, Facebook or any network for that matter, they're not silly, right? And if there are so many mistakes that people make in terms of reusing the same old landing pages or using the same credit card. They're not silly.
Sure. They know.
Yeah, that's right. So you were guiding them through that whole, getting a completely fresh series of accounts so that they could start doing things properly. Keep going.
It was kind of a completely new business, because we couldn't touch anything that was made before. Otherwise, we would be compromised. Even though we have, recently with all the elections, we have had some, sometimes they just freeze the account, but then we just, ask for review, and it's okay, because we have made a new funnel from top to bottom completely clean, and it should be okay, because we know the guidelines we need to follow. And it's been, for the first time for this client, he has been able to promote on Facebook. So that's it.
Wow, that is super fantastic. And it's interesting you bring up as we're recording this, we're in the aftermath of the US elections, and let's just to put not too fine a word on it, Facebook went bananas.
For sure.
Right. It was. So talk to me through that, because that must, how did you go about managing that? Because, a lot of people just woke up and all of a sudden their clients' accounts have been either frozen, ads frozen, accounts frozen. Walk us through that. How did you handle that?
Sure. So obviously it's a chaotic time. It was a chaotic time for everyone. It's we didn't only have problems with accounts, but sometimes the numbers just didn't work. So for sure, we were very careful during those weeks. We tried to, optimize as little as possible, or, create as little as campaigns as we needed to, new tests. So we were very careful. Obviously, we had some ads rejected, and also a couple of campaigns that were not, they just disabled the account. But we didn't do anything wrong. It's just the algorithm working on that stressful time.
And how did you go about finding out that it wasn't your fault? In this case, it wasn't your fault, right? It was a system-wide thing. How did you figure that out?
So we paid a lot of attention to, staying within the guidelines and not, breaching anything. So we knew we were okay. And obviously, we just asked for a review. Once you have an ad not approved or an account disabled, you just ask for a review, and they were actually quite fast in replying and improving, because we know we were okay with that.
Yeah. It's also, given that we've had in this series, we've had a couple of people have started their careers in, health supplements and diets and that side of things. Hey, Facebook love you to advertise. They're not anti supplements, they're not anti diets per se, but there are very strict guidelines that they have to have in place for law and for their own regulations and all that sort of things. So how did you go how did you go about understanding all of that? Because that's a big shift from like ebooks advertising into I can see you smiling.
Sure.
How did you go through that? How did you navigate that area? Because a lot of people fail to navigate that area.
Sure. So obviously, as I said when I started Recall, I owe a lot to AdSkills, because when I decided to invest in AdSkills, I got one of the best educations as a media buyer that I could get. So there's a lot of information there in the programs that teach you what you should and you should not do. Also, they teach you the correct, since before doing any campaigns, the research that you need to do, the systems that you need to follow, the procedures that you need to take. So that was one big understanding of, there are certain things that you just can't do. And especially, it's obviously always recommended that you read the guidelines and the policies from Facebook so that you don't breach anything. Yeah. And one plus that I can answer your question is obviously, aside the quality of the programs inside AdSkills, is the huge value that you find inside ProLead, because most of the times I just don't even need to ask questions, because I just search my question and there's a lot of answers there already. So it's a huge value being part of that community.
That is awesome. Thank you, Mauricio. It's we really appreciate it, and that's what we're there for. So I'm really thrilled to hear that. Hey, look, if somebody wants to, is there a particular area that if you're looking forward now? So if you're looking forward, is there a particular area that you're really excited to focus on or concentrate on, or is there a new thing that you're interested in studying? I'd love to hear about what you're thinking about, as we look to, well, we've gone through one insane year, so let's hope it's a little calmer next year. But tell me, what are you looking forward to? Is there a niche or a technique, or tell me?
So now I've been focusing on the health area a little bit, because that's the clients that I have at the moment. But I'm not only focused on that. Actually, like this year or this next month, I'm just looking to become a master, to improve my skills as a media buyer. That's my short-term goal, instead of not only focusing on a genre, because a little parenthesis here, this couple of months of training here have allowed me to get clients or get a job that I couldn't even possibly dream of getting in Mexico. So with my bachelor and my MBA, I couldn't even earn half of what I'm earning now, because if you get a good job as a media buyer with performance bonuses, you just can't afford this. So myself, as thinking as an online marketer, I knew that I could sell products online, but I didn't know I could, for example, be hired by a US company to work for them directly and have that wage. But anyway, I just took off. I want to improve my skills as a media buyer. I'm on that way. And then I would like to focus on niche, like either e-com or local services that I learned from the funeral home industry, that you can create a working funnel and then just repeat and then find a new one and just duplicate what's working. And that's a way that you can scale by having more clients. So that's a way that I could think of going on in the future.
It's an interesting contrast, isn't it? Because you mentioned, like, if you think about, so how many years of study altogether did you do in finance?
It was not finance, because obviously an MBA is part of it. But it should have been
the whole thing. Let's not discount anything.
5 years of university and 2 years of an MBA, 7 years.
7 years. Yeah. 7 years of study. And I'm sure the MBA that you went to in Brisbane wasn't free.
No, it's UQ.
Yeah, right. So, and bless you for that and helping our Australian economy.
Amazing experience.
And hopefully we can welcome you back in a little while. And so we'd love to have you back, because that's another great thing about media buying, of course, is you can literally be anywhere. You can you can be anywhere you like. But the point I wanted to make, and it's a great point to wind up on, is that the amount of money that you spent, and you're what, 1 year into your media buying career, right?
As a full time, yeah.
Yeah, right. So,
Yeah.
so you're already 1 year in. You're making more than the 7 years of education.
There's no comparison. There's no comparison. I've been 1 year, but it took me a couple of 3 months to start earning money as a media buyer.
Yes.
It took me 7 years to have an MBA, and I really got a good position. I'm not going to say it was not a good position.
No,
it had a good benefits as an employee, but it was stressful. It was very competitive. There was a lot of problems. It was long hours. I ended up didn't enjoying that. And here I can work from home. I can be with my family. I don't need to spend money on traveling to my working place. I earn much more money now, and there's so many opportunities. Once you get in the market, once you start realizing what's going on and what opportunities there are, you can easily grow and not possible if you have a traditional job.
Yeah, that's I just love hearing. This is the best part of my job, is hearing these stories. It's just it just is really marvelous, and I'm so thrilled for you and your family, Mauricio.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to be able, to work from home. Hey, look, if somebody wants to reach out to you, Mauricio, and in one of the areas that you've talked about, I'm sure we have I'm sure we're big in the funeral home, so I think they're a big follower of. I'm being sarcastic. You had 2 years in Australia, so you know the Australian humor.
Yeah, I know, mate.
So where can people find you and reach out to you?
Sure, thank you. So before one of my projects was starting my agency, and I made a build out website. It's called playbookadsmedia.com. Right. And you can find me there at support@playbookadsmedia.com. I haven't been focusing on my agency just now because I got a good job and I'm pretty focused on media buyer. A good job. Yeah. So, but you can reach me there, playbookadsmedia.com, or email support@playbookadsmedia.com.
Thank you so much, Mauricio. And of course, as always, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see in the description below, you'll see all the contact details for Mauricio. And also, if you want to, like Mauricio, join us here at AdSkills in Pro League and really take your media buying career to the next level. And as you hear, we do help once you're certified and qualified, because we're not going to give away jobs to any Tom, Dick or Harry that arrives. But once you get that certification, we have a matchmaking service. And I think last month there was about 300, we matched about 300 jobs with media buyers. So we'd love to help you with that. And you can see in the links below, you'll see a link. Have a tour and take a tour on us and have a check out and see what AdSkills is all about. But Mauricio, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. It's Friday.
It's my pleasure.
So enjoy your
Thank you very much. You too.
And I'll see you around Pro League.
For sure. See you at the forum.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you'd like to learn more about how to use paid traffic and analytics to scale your business, subscribe to the AdSkills channel so you'll be notified every time new content is released. If you'd like to learn more about the topic we just discussed, check out the related video we're posting right now.